members that are permanent members, and that is the mayor of each community, the school superintendent, and the director of the airport. They get information. They're on the executive committee as well as the board. We invite to our planning meeting each year, we invite the mayor. The administration is an ex officio member of our board, so that opportunity is there. It doesn't have to be the city administrator. We talked about maybe Mike being that person to increase the network. The key issue with our board, and Chris was at the meeting, was that we really are performing according to the agreement since the beginning of the year. Last year we were in the budget, we made a presentation. Last October we came to a meeting, there were some questions. We never got back on the agenda I answered the questions, sent the answers, but we never got back on the agenda to formalize that agreement. So October to now, and when the board looked at it, I think that was their main concern. Accountability, tell me. We talked about, we sat down one day and talked about target industries. Well, right now, in Southwest Johnson County, the biggest target is distribution. But that certainly means that there'll be other companies that either relate to or service that industry. So we're not just focusing on a big box, we're focusing on what that will bring to the community. I deal with people who are putting up residences. I deal with people who are planning on hotels or restaurants or any number of things. And each month I do give a report to our board, and I send that report. Apparently it wasn't getting to the council.
It was not.
In the past. I apologize for that. We were told where to send it, and we're under the assumption that it did. The key, as I feel, to economic development, the way we're going to be successful with the city of Gardner and Southwest Johnson County, is to have that relationship where we're going to be discussing, we're going to be open and free to discuss some of the projects. There are going to be some that are just looking at Gardner. That's all they're going to be. There are going to be some that there's going to be competition with two sites. But that, our position isn't to try to push them to one community or the air center. Ours is to find what they need and get them into this area and assist the council in determining what they need, what they need to do to get that. Work with Mike. If there are sometimes businesses have questions, they don't want to go back to the city right away. So they call me, I can make that question. It seems silly, but that's the way it works. So I think the board action to table it was to say, wait a minute, we need to look back, and we provided this service. We've made every effort to try to get this resolved. We just want it resolved. If the answer is no, that's fine. We'll go on our way. We'll stop right now and just work with the people that we have and try to expand our organization elsewhere.
I tend to agree with Heath. This is something that we budgeted last year. I know that work, even though it's not readily apparent, has been performed in good faith. And I don't know about the direction of our governing body if we don't want to execute our agreements in good faith with our partners. Was there a contract? No. Are we going to establish one now for this year and for the rest of this year? Yes. But I think as much as anything, no matter what everybody thinks about performance standards, which are hard to measure, it's not like we're going to have Tom turning in sales reports to us or anything. I think that the EDC provides a conduit for us to companies and developers that are looking to move to, southwest Johnson County. And if one of those hits, it can mean a lot to us. I want to say that even at 50% abated, the Coleman warehouse brings us about 400 and...
2 mils worth.
Oh, so $260,000?
Roughly.
Yeah.
It's about
And that pays EDC costs for 10 years at the current level.
Could I just say one thing?
And that's just one project.
Going back to accountability, we want to be accountable. We do have a program for this year. We sat down last November, talked about what we wanted to accomplish. We want, at the end of the year, or during the year actually, we've already gone back and looked at that and said, where are we on these various goals? Now, our goals are organizational goals, there are marketing goals, there are all sorts of different things that we have. But the strength is to have that partnership, and the only way the partnership is successful is with communication. So.
I agree with Heath. As an audience member until recently, I kind of thought it was already paid, but it was budgeted for and paid for. That's just my 2 cents of just watching it on the other side. I didn't even realize we hadn't executed the contract or paid our 2013 dues. So it was kind of a shock to me. But I think we should be retroactive and go back to January 1, would be my opinion.
So I guess it's a question for Monday night, whether we add that into the contract or to vote on, or leave the contract as is, right?
Well, it depends on, we've got 2 members that are saying they'd like to see that. I'm not a voting member unless there's a tie or somebody's, because somebody's absent or recusing themselves. My opinion is that yeah, we do have that back like that. But at the end of the day, our partners at the EDC, who have been our partners at the EDC for 20 years now, are looking for an answer, and I'd like to give them one on next Monday. Agree? Steve?
Hey, Chris, I'm fine with moving forward with executing the contract from January 1st, if it includes that provision that Mike had them, that Mike is proposing to give them to close the feedback loop a little better and give us more input, more accountability, basically assert more accountability in the process. But I'm prepared to support funding the EDC for the remainder of the year and starting in January.
Okay, well, it seems like we've got a direction, and that's suitable for the board at this point. You and Mike have been working this out. I'm sure that this is something that you believe we can take to the board, and they're going to approve as well, right?
Oh, yeah, I'll confirm that before the meeting.
Okay. Well, then I think that...
Mr. Mayor?
So,
that's what we do.
for clarification, are we putting, when we talk about what we're doing, we're putting the language that, as it was in the previous contracts,